Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm your host, Shay Wheat, founder of Grace and Ease Productions, where we support entrepreneurs just like you with event-based marketing and sales strategies. Today, I want to chat about, in business, we are taking a look at how do you scale and how do you grow and how do you have a team and how do you make an impact in the world. And when you have team, there are the hirings, the firings. You've got to look at increasing engagement and loyalty and how do you turn talent into a competitive advantage and all the things. Well, our guest today is Michelle Risa, who is an executive leader and communications coach. She has offered just so many courses. Get this, to Fortune 500 companies and corporations like Microsoft, MasterCard, the New York Stock Exchange, as well as being a featured speaker at Viacom and World Economic Forum and Forbes and Barclays and United Health and even TEDx in Manhattan. She is the author of Conscious Entrepreneur, a radical new approach to purpose, passion, and profit. So the founder of Collaborative Solutions, Inc., I'm excited for her to share with us on really how can we communicate better? How can we build and have highly productive teams? So please help me welcome Michelle to the Creating Powerful Impact stage. What's up, Michelle?
Thank you so much. That was a lovely introduction. I appreciate that.
I'm excited because
I'm excited to meet me.
You're like, I think she sounds pretty fascinating.
Who will I show up? I ask myself all the time, who will I show up in this moment as? So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I would love for you to, share with us, kind of maybe even some of the topics that go along with your book. It's like, how are we being a conscious entrepreneur? How do we incorporate passion and purpose and profit all at the same time? How do we do that by instilling these things into our team? Like, so many questions right there. Where do you want to start?
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with a story, which was, I too grew up thinking profit only. And back in the 70s, I had the fortune of going to Vermont and meeting the people called Ben and Jerry's.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
Great ice cream, in my opinion. Opinion. And they were, the cows were out back, and certainly in the 70s, a little smaller than, obviously, I know they sold off their company, but it was still, to this question, my first introduction to a triple bottom line. So, and let me just bring it up to date also, I actually say it's a quadruple bottom line, so yes, there is a profit, but there's people and there's planet and there's purpose. So there's 4 P's, just doesn't matter, 3, 4. However, just widening our vision of how we can run a business beyond just profit is now really, really landing with a lot of people. I'll use Jane Fraser, who is now the CEO of Citibank. That's where I used to work. And she says things like, empathy is no longer, something, she didn't use the word, is no longer a soft skill, or maybe she just said it's a hard skill. It's given us a competitive advantage because as a result of having empathy in our environment, we are an employer of choice. Just saying. Okay. So it's shifting. I mean, there's many, and I think many of your audience may know about B Corps, which again expand beyond the profit only. Profit is still important to run a business. We're not silly, right? We understand how we treat our people, how we inspire them, how we create a support structure. How many of us often don't feel supported, and maybe communication, don't feel heard. So yes, MasterCard and Microsoft, how can we begin? What does it mean in terms of communication? And I just gave it away. But here's the tip right now. Listen. I think maybe you and others may be saying, what am I going to say? And I appreciate and I'm an and girl, A-N-D, that's another tip, instead of a but girl, B-U-T, one T, which is more of an or. It's, yes, let me be present. Let me listen to you. Let me convey that I've heard what you said. And yes, maybe even thank you, just 2 words. Thank you for sharing. And then contributing, and in addition to what you said. So connection, belonging, collaboration, talked about teams. All of what I've just said offers so many tips right there, right? And they're simple. We don't need to climb Mount Everest. So don't worry about what you're going to say. You're not always on a stage. And I think even those who are really effective on a stage, you're the expert in that, they listen. Right before they don't just decide to say something. They're listening to the audience and feeling what would be most meaningful to them. I mean, right? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. When you're on stage, you are, and that's why we love, like, even a virtual live stage, we always do it live, because we can see what's going on with the audience. We can see when they start to have that question mark look face, and they're like, well, okay, that didn't quite land. Okay, let's pull up Susan. Susan, that didn't land. Like, what's coming up for you, right? And we can then listen and respond to what's showing up in the space, because maybe you didn't communicate it in a way that they understood what was really trying to come across, right?
So the one word tip here is listen. You want to improve your communication, your connection, and therefore with your team, improve, I would say, collaboration and productivity, which results into profit. Let's follow the stream here. Then, yes, when they feel heard, and this is the Dalai Lama, we have the opportunity to give the gift of being heard. She actually gave me a few moments of her attention. And we can then, once we have that connection, Shay, we then build trust. And what can't we do when we trust one another? What can't we do? So I'm you're just doing it for my paycheck or even for my family, right? I'm supporting, but maybe now as a result of this environment, right, that it now has a sense of connection and belonging. Now we're creating something beyond just this product, something. I'll actually end with this part where there was a story or science. I don't know which. I have too many stories in science in my brain. So there are 3 men doing the same project or job. Okay. And one is carrying his stone, to where it needs to go. The second is, as he's carrying his stone, he's thinking, I'm providing for my family and they will now have, food and clothes and etc. And the third is he's carrying the stone. He's saying, oh, I can just see the cathedral in my mind. It will be awesome. Right. So here we have literally in action 3 of similar movement, right? But what we're envisioning, what we're bringing to it clearly has different intention. And I wish that we could do a poll, because I'd say to everybody, which one are you and which one do you think is best? And I'm just going to take 1, 2, 3. Okay, everyone has the answer. Great. Right. And now do you want to answer, or should I tell you what I want to suggest? Just go.
Yeah, tell us what you suggest.
Is all of that is acceptable and needed. We need people who just want to carry the stone. There are those who are there to provide, no problem. And there are those who are, right, envisioning the cathedral, right, beyond what it is, right? And so when we're building a team, let's embrace that diversity of talent and intention. And when we include all, then we actually elevate all of us. Elevate all of us.
It makes sense for sure. So for the entrepreneur, the business owner that is, listening right now, and they're like, okay, great. I understand the concept. I get it from a 30,000 foot view, but I'm in it right now. And I'm in it with my team, and, we're doing a launch, or we're leading towards an event, or, we're launching our next book or our next program or what have you, and we're in it, right? what would you suggest for them that they can have, maybe daily or weekly habits, or something that would still keep the communication open when you are running fast in those seasons?
So I think everyone who's wherever they are, has to have a time that everyone connects. So some do it one-on-one, some do it in groups. I don't think that matters, whatever is your preference and whatever your time allows. But it's keeping connected to people so that obstacles and misunderstandings invariably arise, you can help them through those issues, right? So we're back to communication. Understanding, and people may change what you thought they once were good at, maybe not so much now. And so now the question as the leader is, how can I look or optimize who they are, right? Let me be who they are now. Maybe they just got pregnant. Maybe they just got a divorce. I'm just saying life does make us change. And so knowing that, give them a slightly different role or maybe a totally different role. So again, they can optimize what they're bringing to the table, right? And I'm going to go back to the sense of support and belonging. I think, especially when we're going fast, if we can trust each other and feel we each have each other's back, makes a huge difference. I'm going to bring in one other piece of science. I'm actually in a course with 180 other people where we're looking to create, a society where, yes, all of us not only survive, but thrive. And it's a challenge. Okay. And one of the things we clearly know, and I'll finish this part. One of the things, there's so much I want to share. One of the things we already know is in our society currently, when someone digresses, there's sometimes, a punishment, right, for that person. You did something wrong. Well, that then causes us to hide hide our mistakes, which isn't a good thing. It in some cases, if we are just punishing, that really the energy changes. And as you can hear, I'm all about creating community and support. So what is an alternative to that is that when you have someone going off course, right, to support them and, see how you can support them, but more importantly say, I need you to be, the best. These are my words. I'm sorry. You plug in whatever you wish, the best you can be, because let me go to the worst. You have a bully amongst you who is bullying people. Let's just say we all have that as well. And instead of, again, punishing, we can say, to that bully, you make it bad for all of us, right? So we're going to hold you accountable, right? Say, do what you need to do, take a break, whatever we feel is appropriate, because what one of us does affects all of us. And the more we emphasize that interconnection, and maybe I'll give another example that might be more helpful. It's like saying, I don't care what my heart does or what my liver does. They can do what they want on their own. They don't have to communicate, right? And you would go,
that doesn't make any sense.
I don't think it'd be really healthy. So maybe the microcosm, right? Your company is your whole body, right? And everybody's in there. Organ cells, right? And you want everyone to be optimal, right? I want my brain to be rested and, my heart to be strong, my liver, my gut, we know how important, gut health is now, right? And we want them each individually to be optimal. And we know everybody's holding everybody accountable, because when you have a rogue cell, i.e. right? What do we do, right? We can't just let it keep multiplying. I think your viewers would agree. And so what do you do? I've had cancer. I've been blessed with that. It was a challenge and a blessing. I believe life is both sides of the same coin. That was one of the best lessons I took from that experience. Another tip to consider. And I'll just say that I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought, that when you look at it instead of fighting the bad guy, one of my alternative healers I worked conventional and alternative with said, see your tumor as your beloved. And I winced. Shay, I just kind of went, what? And
it's not a normal thing to think of cancer as your lover, right? So I think a lot of people would be wincing with you.
here's where I was able to connect, because at that point I knew the power of positive energy and healing energy. So do I want to punish and hate and demonize you? If let's just say you're part of me, or can I heal you? If you're struggling, right? If you're a rogue cell, might I, and I appreciate this is not easy. I went through it, but let me go to the end of the story, so I don't want to belabor it. In 5 weeks, the tumor was gone and the doctors were amazed. And I had to convince them, please, 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 take another MRI. I feel there's been a shift. And they're like, no, it's too early. No, we have another 2 months to go. And I was like, just humor me.
Yeah.
Gone. So I'm an and girl, as I mentioned earlier, A and D. And so I would offer this other tip to your audience. See what else might be there. I appreciate you've seen it or experienced it or heard it in a certain way. However, if the universe is bringing you that experience, maybe there's more that you need to see or understand, right? And just be open-minded, right, to that possibility.
Yeah.
Right. And let me add, and be a little patient. It may not happen in an instant moment, right, that you'll see it. I frequently need to sleep in order to get those insights, but sometimes they come faster. But I'll just say, yeah, there's much to embracing this interconnectedness and balance that we all have, and approaching it with, and I'll leave with my 2 words, passion and compassion. Calm.
I love it. I love it. Michelle, those are amazing tips and resources right there. Would you mind if we kind of swap gears slightly here and kind of look at, I mean, in your journey, 30 plus years, you've been around business and involved in business and traveling and all kinds of things. I'm sure it hasn't always been great and amazing. Is there a challenge or something that you learned along the way that maybe a story that you can share with our audience of how you went through that challenge and what you learned from it?
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go in, since many of us feel we're in transition, I'm going to go into I mentioned it briefly when I left Citibank, and I would like to underscore the importance of trusting yourself. And I think and I know we've heard it, so I'm going to jump from trusting yourself to really being committed to knowing who you are and who you're not. And I think that's a journey. I don't think anyone can tell you what that is. For me, it was, yes, doing some rituals, and I believe in them. Whatever your ritual is, it could be gardening, it could be yoga, it could be mantra, breath. I mean, I'm going to say thousands, but probably more than that. And as using that commitment to constantly saying, and I think I said that to you in the beginning, who am I? How am I going to show up? I don't know. I'm being just authentic and genuine, and in this moment, sharing whatever's coming up and trusting that. And I hope you're feeling that I'm being authentic. I don't know. I'm not obviously you, but if that is how I come in, into this conversation and connection with you, there's really, in my opinion, you may disagree with all of what I've said. There's nothing more I need to do. So that's knowing me, that my commitment is to being authentically me. Now that might not be yours, but I'm saying that's mine. So when I hold that sense of who I am and who I'm not. Earlier, you asked me, I thought, to do something technologically, and I was very candid, and I said, I can't do that. I don't know how. I'm confident when I know who I am and I know who I'm not. I can just be me. And let me we're all human. There is not one human or anything that doesn't have strengths and weaknesses. I mean, truly, no matter how it appears. So yes, So leverage your strengths and know what your weaknesses are. And again, I'm going to go back to community. Have a diverse community who shares your core values. And so let me just say, if you're a tech person and I'm good at, I don't know, community building, just saying, hey, be on my team because we both need each other. And
Right.
then, right, the multiplicity of possibilities, or the infinite, let me say it that way, possibilities are there.
Yeah, absolutely. So find the strengths in other people, because your strength is probably their weakness, and then why not collaborate and communicate and do something together in partnership, right? I love that.
And that's the benefit instead of the judgment. Oh, this is your weakness, Shay. This is your weakness, Michelle. Okay. And we can judge. And I've been there. But I realize that's ridiculous. That's really ridiculous, right? For what we just said. Instead of seeing it as a thing to judge our weakness as bad, wonderful. Let's complement. Let's see what we have in common. Let's see what we can leverage. And I think given we're all into, well, more of us are interconnected around the globe. I mean, look at what we've got.
Yeah.
Look at what we're doing right now. I mean, it's like the universe is telling us. I think they said it during COVID as well, but some of us heard it and some of us didn't. You guys are in this together. I know you may not want to be, but you are. Figure it out. A whole new way of interacting. And I'm not saying the solution is easy. I'm in this program to ask hard questions, but let me just say, I want to share this. We're studying the evolution since the beginning of time. We are not innately competitive, as Darwin says, survival of the fittest. We have from the very beginning been cooperative species, right? And if you just, again, think of your body, how could this be surviving if everybody was competing and killing each other? I mean, right? I mean, okay, so if you're getting my metaphors, that wouldn't work. Everybody's, I mean, again, there are parts of us that need to kind of go away. I mean, we have toxicities, and I'm going to just be really clear. We urinate and defecate every day. I mean, yes, please move stuff out that needs to be moved out. But we're constantly coming back into balance, and we do it together. And that inherently is who we are. And now we're, with all the chaos, I'm a crisis expert as well. With all this wonderful crises around us, notice I said wonderful. That's how we evolve. If it weren't here, we'd all just be doing the same thing. This is great, having a good day. Okay, nothing to do here, nothing to see. I mean, there's so much to see. I mean, there's so much to do. There's so much contribution to make, right? There's so many challenges to stretch towards. So I say we're blessed to be alive at this time. Let's celebrate together, and, see this. Yes, hard to see, hard to listen to. Yes, fires, droughts, not just climate, pick whichever, issue is yours. There's many. And, goodness gracious, see that even when you walk down the street and just smile at a stranger is a gift. You
Absolutely.
make it.
Beautiful. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for being with us today. You've dropped some diamonds without a doubt. If people wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that? And I believe you also have a gift for our audience today.
So I hope they can see my name, but I'll spell it. LinkedIn is a great way to connect with me. I'd love to connect with people on LinkedIn, and it's spelled Michele, Michelle with one L, last name Risa, Risa. So that would be a great way. And the gift is my chapter in this book. I was a co-author. It won many awards, and we'll be providing the link for them to obtain that. And I hope it continues to inspire and give them tidbits that they can put into action immediately.
Perfect. And my last question for you, what is a takeaway or memorable note you want to leave our audience with today?
That actually is hard because I feel like I've been sharing so much.
A lot. Yeah, for sure.
I'll leave with a formula that's not actually, well, it is a formula to help us go from this idea to manifestation. I think many of us, pray and envision and all the varieties. For me, and it's just a 3-step to go from either thought or theory. Here's the middle step, practice, to manifestation or mastery. So maybe theory, practice, mastery, or vision. I'm going to say the same word, practice, and to finally either become a master or manifest it. And though practice for some of us go, I just say, how did you get from crawling to walking? And I'm just assuming everybody went through that, right? They had to practice, right? They had to figure out how to send those signals to their feet to find, balance there, or learn whatever language they speak, right? Again, they didn't just go from goo goo gaga to whole sentences and paragraphs, right? So the how we embrace the practice, I think, is the secret sauce. If I go through the motions and I'm like, I've got to go to the gym or whatever that practice is, right? If it's it does not have the same energy, Shay, as I'm in. All right. If I were a musician, if I was Mozart, I don't know, I would think he just practiced really incredibly to the top, 100%. I imagine Picasso, whoever you imagine. Einstein, I think, had his exciting moments. So how we practice, it really is the glue between, again, the theory and the vision and the ultimate manifestation or mastery. That would be my...
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us. And I also want to thank our audience for joining us on another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm excited for you to take all of these lessons and all of the resources that you've learned here today, start implementing them so that you can create even more impact in your world. Until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.